Good morning. My name is Huang, and like Kathy said, this is completely different. I'm a project lead for Streetmix. We're not an organization per se. We're not a nonprofit. We're not a for-profit organization. We're not government. What we are is a completely open source technology project that got started last year while I was a fellow at Code for America. So if you don't know what Code for America is, we are a technology nonprofit based in San Francisco. What we do is we partner with cities and other municipal governments to help them provide better services for their communities. And we do that by leveraging the best practices of technology and user experience design of the modern web. And as an urban designer who writes JavaScript, personally, I do this to target the challenges in city planning and in placemaking. So Streetmix is a highly interactive application, so I've only got the static slide to show it, which doesn't really do it justice. So if you have a chance, I highly encourage you to check it out at streetmix.net. But what it is at its core is a street section creator. And we built it with community engagement in mind. So I got this idea when I was at a community meeting in San Francisco 2 years ago. They broke out all the attendees into small groups and asked them to create their ideal street using paper cutouts. And then the planners took pictures of all the submissions, they retreated back to their offices, did whatever analysis they needed to do on them, and they reported their findings at another public meeting 2 months later. So we all know streets are incredibly important public spaces, but I thought it was a shame that we confined this discussion to a single room at a single point in time. So I thought, why don't we do this online? You can gather feedback from people, from a lot more people who couldn't make it to a public meeting. You could post all the submissions online so that other people can see what other people came up with at any time. You can share your ideas, you can collaborate with other people, and keep that conversation alive on the internet where people were already talking and spending a lot of their time on blogs, forums, and social media. And the other goal we wanted to do with Streetmix is that we wanted the engagement to be fun. We wanted to allow creativity. We had this thesis that people don't like to participate in civic engagement or civic matters because it often feels like homework, like a chore. So we built it so that the interface is very intuitive. We've simplified a lot of the civil engineering aspects out of it so that regular people can focus on the parts that they care about, like bike lanes and trees and walkability. So ever since we launched this last year, we've seen people use this in really creative ways. We've seen advocacy groups in so many cities across the country, like in San Francisco, Kansas City, Missouri, Cleveland, New Orleans, generating proposals out of Streetmix, taking it out to their government officials, gathering public support in forums like MindMixer and Neighborland, or their own blogs and their own forums, or even in real-life gatherings. So we've become a huge part of people getting their ideas and their movements off the ground very, very, very quickly. But I'd also like to focus briefly on an ongoing project, which is the subject of the slide behind me. This is in Broward County, the second most populous county in Florida. It was also ranked as one of the most dangerous places in the country for cyclists and pedestrians because of their absolute dependence on the personal automobile, so which is completely unacceptable they have a lot of a huge aging population. They've lost the ability to be independently mobile. They were the most at risk. It was also unacceptable for the younger population. They tend to drive less and were threatening to leave the county. So in 2012, the Broward MPO initiated a very ambitious Complete Streets program for the entire county. They recognized the need to have different priorities to react to these changing trends. They wanted to decrease fatalities, of course, increase mobility and independence. And earlier this year in January, they hosted a Safe Streets Summit open to the public in a room very similar to this one, and had these breakout sessions where people were contributing their ideas and their feedback in some traditional ways, like on paper maps, but also using Streetmix. They were given a street much like this one over here, which is sort of like a standard collector street in Broward County. Gave them some ideas, but also asked them to use Streetmix to come up with their own ideas to completely reimagine what that street could be like, given the priorities that everyone agreed on. So, even when you have that priority as a baseline, change is scary, right? So when you give people the ability to design their own space in this digital space, it helps create the buy-in and the support for the kinds of actions we want to see in the real world. So I'm extremely happy to see Streetmix become a tool in our placemaking toolkit, and I'm hoping that we can tell many more stories like that. Thank you.